Hello everyone. So today I'll be speaking about the anatomy of middle ear. My last video was about the external ear and eustachian tube mainly. So today I'll be starting with middle ear. How many quick revision? How many parts does the ear have? Yes, three parts: external, middle, and inner. So talking about the middle ear, where is it located exactly? The middle ear is located in the petrous part of temporal bone. Petrous part of temporal bone. So, the first year anatomy people, when they showed you the temporal bone, so this roughened area and slightly elevated area, so this was the petrous part of temporal bone. So, here it will be having the markings for middle and inner ear. Okay, so it is present in your petrous part of temporal bone. So, the middle ear cavity. So this comes as a question many times in anatomy also and ENT also, that how to describe the anatomy of middle ear, and there is no other way to explain it better than to actually draw its diagram. So diagram is very important over here. So middle ear cavity is basically a six-sided cuboid. For better visualization, if you are sitting in a room, the middle ear cavity is like your room. It has got floor, it has got roof, it has got it has got medial wall, lateral wall, anterior wall, and posterior wall. So, speaking in detail about each of the walls, the lateral wall, which you can't see over here, you have to imagine that the covering or lateral wall is present over here, opposite to the medial wall. So this lateral wall is made up of tympanic membrane, which obviously I haven't drawn over here, but it is made of tympanic membrane. And tympanic membrane, which I told you was part of external ear. So this tympanic membrane, it is derived from first pharyngeal arch. That's why it has got derivation from all the three germ layers. So this is about the tympanic membrane, which makes the lateral wall of your middle ear cavity. Okay, so the next becomes your floor. So what forms the floor of middle ear cavity? So the floor is formed by a thin plate of bone. Obviously, it is a bony cavity. The floor is formed by a thin plate of bone that separates it from two vital structures, which are your IJV. What is this IJV? IJV is the internal jugular vein. Okay, so this is the internal jugular vein. And the second structure over here is the ninth nerve. So, which is the ninth nerve? Yes, it is the glossopharyngeal nerve. But which branch is this? So, common sense, as it is entering, it is entering the ear, na? So it has to have a term which describes it, that it enters the ear. So it is tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve. Next, so this is about the floor. Now we have the anterior wall. Anterior wall has got its relation with the ICA. Yes, it is the internal carotid artery. And where does this internal carotid artery come from? It comes from your aorta, the branches of aorta. Okay, so this is the internal carotid artery, a very vital structure. Yes, then we have two openings in this anterior wall. So what are these openings for? So something has to pass through it, some structure has to pass through it. So what are these two structures? The first is the tensor tympani, and second is for the auditory tube. In my last video, I told about eustachian tube. So it is also known as auditory tube. So this is the cavity from where this eustachian tube passes, and this one is for the tensor tympani muscle. It acts on the tympanic membrane. It basically tenses your tympanic membrane, as the name suggests. Okay, so now we move ahead to the posterior wall. So this posterior wall, it again has got a opening or additus. So this name may sound foreign to us, but aditus is basically opening. It's another name for opening. So this aditus is for communication. So with whom does this aditus communicates? It communicates with the mastoid antrum. Mastoid antrum. Uh, in the osteology of scalp, you maybe have shown what is mastoid. So this is for the mastoid antrum. It has got cells, different types of cells, antral cells and all that. So this is the mastoid antrum. Okay, then again to the posterior wall, what is this structure? Even there is no need to mug up this thing. How does it look like? It looks like a pyramid. So this is the pyramidal eminence, and it has got something on it. What is that? It has got the stapedius muscle present on it. Stapedius muscle. So the stapedius muscle, it acts on the stapes. You know the three ear ossicles, malleus, incus and stapes. So the stapedius muscle acts on the stapes, and it is actually a protective reflex. Whenever you hear something very loud, your stapedius will act on the stapes and it will contract. So it is basically protective reflex. Okay, so here there is a nerve passing through. So which is this nerve? This is the facial nerve. Okay, so I'll be speaking in detail about facial nerve in another video, but this is the facial nerve. Okay, so lastly about the medial wall. Okay, so the medial wall is very important. It has got three important structures, four actually. So this one is the oval window. Oval window. The details will be described in the inner ear anatomy, what it exactly it functions for. This is the oval window, also known as fenestra vestibuli, and this is the round window. Okay, and this is a elevated structure, promontory, called as promontory. Any elevation is called promontory. Another promontory which we have is the sacral promontory. So this is a promontory, and over this there is a network kind of thing. You can see a network. So anatomical name for network is plexus. So what kind of plexus is this? So this plexus is the tympanic plexus. Again, it is related to the ear. So the name is tympanic plexus. And what forms this tympanic plexus? So there are two things. It is formed by the tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve. Remember this, which was coming from the floor? This glossopharyngeal nerve contributes to this tympanic plexus. And the another thing is carotid-tympanic plexus. It is a sympathetic plexus which is present around internal carotid artery. So this completes our middle ear anatomy. You need to follow the color code of anatomy while drawing this. I was not having any yellow marker to show that, but the nerves have to be shown with yellow, arteries with red, and veins with blue. So hope this helps. Okay, thank you so much.